I'm by no means a Nyx player, but even I have to admit, it's a bit ludicrous knowing that the last time Nyx was touched in any update or hotfix was in September of last year. Lately the Vlad is going to make Nyx worthless pitchfork mob is picking up steam, and as much as I agree that Vlad appears to be a better Nyx similar to how Loki is also a better Nyx, I would say that the bigger issue to look at would not be the fact that Nyx is getting replaced, but rather that Nyx is in a position where she can be replaced. In other words, I would say that the problem isn't how Vlad is a better Nyx. The problem is that Nyx, along with a few other frames, are capable of being easily replaced by virtually any new Warframe. I'm quite aware that the development squad over at DE is small, since they're obviously not a AAA developer. I'm also quite aware that updating Warframes often takes a backseat to development for other new content, such as the recently released The Sacrifice Quest, because bigger pieces of content require more manpower, thus more attention and time. However, to see a long-existing Warframe such as Nyx be trashed here simply because of an unupdated kit is just sad. It reminds me of how way back when everyone memed about Hydroid being the worst Warframe in the game, but when his rework and Prime released, that joke practically went away overnight. Nowadays Nyx is the new Hydroid, but through no fault of her own, rather because her abilities have remained virtually the same since Warframe's launch. I assume that DE is busy with bigger and more ambitious projects, because otherwise, I would say it's completely asinine to turn a blind eye to updating Nyx. I could understand forgetting about Wukong, because admittedly he's a pretty forgettable Warframe given that hardly anyone plays him outside of solo. For Nyx, I can't. Given that Nyx is one of the 9 original Warframes from closed beta, seeing a rework for her not even be a thing until 5 years later is just sad. Again, I imagine that DE has a lot on their plate, such as the upcoming Fortuna, but still. Something could have been thought up and announced as a potential project during the content drought we went through when waiting for The War Within. Something could have been imagined during the other content drought we went through earlier this year. Both occasions were wasted opportunities. Regardless, reworks for every Warframe will come, because as always the meta of the game constantly morphs alongside any new content that is released. In order to attempt to prevent another Nyx situation like now from happening in the future, I would suggest that DE begin making annual evaluations for every Warframe. In other words, at the beginning of every year, all you'd have to do is look at whichever Warframes are played the least, then ask the community for feedback on whichever Warframes happen to be underplayed. If it's because they're non-meta, so be it. If it's because they're just not public squad friendly, so be it. If it's because they're simply outdated, start fixing it. If there's anything you can take away from this, it's that you should feel bad for those who like Archwayne and Lunaro, because we all know both of them are less updated than the melee channeling system we have.
We added Archwing, we added Lunaro, which turned out no one really plays, which is fine. You're allowed to make mistakes, that's cool, but you need to try.
Thank you for watching.